Hey guys, this is Udit. So we'll be continuing on our Node.js and Express course. In this particular thing, we will be learning how to write uh, endpoints in Node.js. So how to write an endpoint is that first we create an Express app. After creating an Express app, what we do is we define our endpoint. We define our endpoint like API ping slash API, and we can do whatever is required. After doing that, we can test if it is working fine or not. So with endpoint, what we can do is that we can basically define middlewares also. So the middlewares are what? Middlewares are basically used functions which we call. Uh, so what is a middleware? Middleware is basically between request and response. If there is a function we want to call to provide a to do a activity, or to log something, or to do certain activities between request and response, and we want to use it across multiple endpoints. In that particular scenario, we can use a middleware. So how to write a middleware? So writing middleware is fairly simple. How we can do? We can write HTTP server use, and then give the endpoint of the middleware, and then mention request, response, and next. And after doing our activities, like here we are writing a middleware. This is middleware 1 new, and this is middleware 1. So here we are not giving any endpoint for a middleware, which means that this middleware we called for all the request and response. I hope you understand what I am trying to say. Like this is a middleware API use. This is called for endpoint slash API. But these middleware is not called for any API, any endpoint. So that's why we are using request, response, and next. And then we are logging our code console.log. This is middleware 1, and then passing to the next. So next means it will go to the next request or to the next response. So what we can do here is that we can dot URL, we can mention. So this is one thing I have added. So it's running fine. This is logging from here. So let me remove that. Actually, this is not required. I just use it to say how to set up a server in Express. But now I hope you are clear with middleware. How to write two kinds of middleware. One is the middleware with an endpoint. This middleware will be called one if our request is directed to this endpoint. And this middleware has no path, so it will be called every time. Okay. So the sequence of middleware is that if there are three middlewares for the same endpoint, it will be called from top to down. So it is like that. So let's call this endpoint API ping. This is a get endpoint, and if we call, it should be called middleware 1 new and middleware 2. So I have used, I am using REST endpoint, REST client. It is Bruno, but you can use Postman as well, which is industry standard. Bruno might be industry standard, but most of the places I saw people using Postman. So let me call API ping. So this endpoint, we are running our server in this thing 3000 API ping. So let's run it. So ping is successful. When I go here, I see middleware 1 new and middleware 1 ping, and then the ping router. So this is how it is called. It went into my server. It saw that there is a middleware which will be called for all the path, and here it is called for new. This is for 1, and then here after 1, what it printed? It printed the path API ping slash ping. So if you can see, so API ping it printed, and then it went to the next line and it printed API ping router, and then it moved and returned ping success, which is here. So this is the whole path. Next path we will be rather than writing it into the one file, we will be setting up express router so that we can define each route for each object like user and everything into a separate file, so that the managing this particular code becomes easy rather than writing all the endpoints into one file. I hope you find this video little helpful. Please like, share, subscribe, and also there is HTML course which definitely you will find great. So please kindly enroll into that. It's on Udemy. Link is given in this particular video only.